Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today, it is a long overdue video, and it is Doom for the Game Boy Advance. This is one I actually meant to do back in October of this year, or I guess last year. It's 2017 now as of doing this. And so slightly delayed, but we are finally going to do it. And as many of you guys know that have followed me for a while, Doom is one of my favorite games of all time. I love playing all the versions of the game. Except maybe the 3DO one. That one's kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm actually looking forward to going through the Game Boy Advance version again. It's been a while since I've done this version of the game. And, you know what, we might be able to get away with doing a lower brightness on this, since we are not playing on a Game Boy Advance. These brightness levels actually go up quite high in this version. It's mainly because when Doom came out, it came out when the original Game Boy Advance was still the main platform on the market. It had no backlight in it, so it was almost impossible to see that screen. So a lot of games had just crazy lighting options like this. So we're going to go ahead and put it down to the lowest brightness setting. If it's too dark, I can always bring it back up in software, and it'll basically have the same effect. So we're going to go ahead and just leave all the music and stuff on. This shows your controls and whatnot. Great thing about this version of the game, unlike the Jaguar version, is that it has individual strafe commands. Now, I mentioned the Jaguar version specifically because it seems that this version of the game, its level set and level structure is based on the Jaguar versions. So I'm going to eventually do a side-by-side long play of both games, or a dual play, where I basically have both games running side-by-side for the entirety of the game. And that's also one of the good reasons about doing this Let's Play. Interestingly, unlike like the Jaguar or 3DO versions of the game, it actually gives you 3 episodes you can pick from. Although I think it still has the same like 25 or 26 level structure or something like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the game, and we're going to play it on... Well, I guess we don't have ultraviolet, so I guess we're going to play it on Nightmare, which I think Nightmare in this version is still like equivalent to ultraviolence. So let's go ahead and just jump into that. And here we go. Doom for the freaking Game Boy Advance. It might not look like much today, but Doom on the Game Boy Advance was actually really impressive when it came out. It showed what the Game Boy Advance hardware was capable of. And it's actually quite a respectable version of the game. It's quite playable. It's quite brisk. And it's especially not going to look like much here because we've got it blown up, you know, upscaled, and it's, you know, mostly full screen and whatnot. But when you're actually playing this on a tiny Game Boy Advance screen, it really looked amazing. And it actually still looks really good if you play it on an actual Game Boy Advance. So it's always a fun version for me to go to, just kind of like reminiscing about those early Game Boy Advance days, because this was a relatively early Game Boy Advance game. I remember that same year the Game Boy Advance came out, not even the same year the Game Boy Advance came out, I think, yeah, no, it was. It's the same year the Game Boy Advance came out in North America. There was rumors that Doom was already coming to it, and that just blew a lot of our minds because... when the Game Boy Advance came out, we all kind of looked at it as just like a beefed up Super Nintendo, basically. And yeah, Super Nintendo had Doom, but we all knew it wasn't a phenomenal version of Doom. I have a soft spot for it, but ideally it's not a version of Doom you're just going to go around and recommend to everybody. So the fact that it was coming to the Game Boy Advance at the time just kind of blew our minds, and then when it actually hit... we were really, really impressed by it, like how fluid it moved and how good it looked and so forth. There were some cutbacks, and mainly not so much cutbacks as much as like censorship. So like all the red blood in this game has actually been switched out for green, so you can see like there's this green puddle on the ground. That's kind of interesting. Kind of, yeah. So we just blew up that imp. Oh, the bodies disappear too in this version. I never realized that. Interesting. Alright, we're going to go ahead and skip that secret back there. There's a couple more secrets, but we're not going to be going for like a 100% run or anything like that. What we're going to be doing is just trying to get through the game as quickly as possible. So this doesn't turn into a 3-hour video. Which it easily can with Classic Doom. That's just how Classic Doom works. So now I think we do actually have to be careful because we have it on Nightmare. Unfortunately, there's no ultra-violence setting in this game, so it appears that enemies are doing a lot of damage and their accuracy is quite high. Like, even these grunts are hitting me from, you know, a long ways away, and they're actually hitting me. Normally, these enemies are notorious for not hitting you at all. Like, they're pretty much like the dumbest enemies in the game, and really of no risk whatsoever unless there's just a ton of them in the same room and you have, like, 0 health or something like that. So this switch here that we just flipped, this is going to actually open a secret out this way, which I do always recommend doing this secret because you get the chain gun from it, and you also get a supercharge or a soul sphere, whichever one you prefer to call it. It's called both according to the game and the manuals for the various versions of Doom. So we're going to come out here. Now we really got to watch out because there's shotgun soldiers out here. Shotgun zombie soldiers. Yeah, they're really doing some damage to me. There's probably going to be some more over here. Yep. So what we're going to do is probably just like in previous Doom Let's Plays, we're going to skip the bonus stage for episode 1. It is in this version as far as I recall. But we're not going to play it. It's just it's another level. Like I said, I want to kind of get through this as quickly as possible. So, and might as well just keep it in line with several of my other Doom Let's Plays. Likewise, we're going to skip the main secret on this level as well. We don't really need the chainsaw. We'll get the chainsaw on a later stage in the game. The chainsaw is given to you a bunch of times, so to get to the chainsaw, you have to come over here. There's a switch over there you can flip. It opens this wall right here. Not really necessary for me right now, so we're going to go ahead and just skip it. But it is there in the Game Boy Advance version, and you can come down here as well, and you can actually take a peek at the chainsaw right over there. So that's where the chainsaw is. Let's just go ahead and get back up and keep progressing. There's also a secret up there that I just missed. It's not really a necessary one either. Doom has a lot of secrets that are kind of like just for show. They don't really give you a whole lot. Like, there's a couple of like items up there. I think there might be like a shotgun pack or something like that. But don't really need it. I'm using the chain gun right now. So not a big deal. Now, it's actually been a while since I played this version of the game. I actually completed this over the summer in 2016, and I haven't played it since. So I need to figure out how I switch weapons. One of the cool things about this version of the game is that you can actually save your progress. So you can basically take a slot, hit yes, and overwrite it, and there you go. We just saved our progress. Now, one of the great things about saving your progress in this game is that okay, now I am a little... Oh, that's right. I think... Yeah, you have to hold down both triggers and press up and down. Oh, wow. It's one of the disadvantages of the Game Boy Advance only having 4 face buttons. I mean, technically it has 6. It has a start and select key. So that's definitely a little awkward, unfortunately. So you basically have to hold down L and R and press up and down to switch your weapons. Hopefully that doesn't, like, mess with us later on, because I know sometimes I can press L and R together by accident when I'm trying to strafe left and right. Alright, come on, Pinky. Get back over here. Thank you. Another zombie guy over there, and another one all the way across the room. It's gonna be a barrel right here. Let's blow that up. Kill a bunch of those guys in that room. So what I'm gonna have to really do when I play this game is focus on a lot of the shotgun soldiers in particular, because they're gonna be able to do lots of damage to me very quickly. Like, there's another one up there. We're going to come down here because, okay, no more imps. It's actually interesting that the bodies disappear, and I totally understand why. It's to free up resources so the game doesn't, you know, slow down to a crawl. And they were basically trying to do whatever they could to, you know, keep any resources free for the Game Boy Advance to, you know, to make this version happen. When there's a lot of enemies on screen, you can definitely see how the game starts to slow down a little bit. One of the good things is that, despite it slowing down, it's still, like, very playable the entire time. It's very comparable to, like, the Atari Jaguar version of the game, in that version slows down as well, and yet it's still very, very playable in the long term. So you get used to the slightly sluggish nature here and there, and it just kind of comes with the territory from systems from that time, you know, and the Game Boy Advance is really no different. I mean, the Game Boy Advance wasn't the most powerful handheld ever created, and it was just really awesome that we got a version of Doom on it to begin with. Now, there was also Doom 2. Unfortunately, it was done by a different studio. I think it was done by Taurus Games. They actually did a first-person shooter on the Nokia N-Gage of all platforms called Ashen. And it was more of a Quake-style first-person shooter. It had a fully 3D engine, and it was actually a pretty cool game. And I was a little disappointed to find out that they made, later on, Doom 2 on the Game Boy Advance, because Doom 2 on the Game Boy Advance feels so weird compared to this version of Doom. Like, this feels like Doom. You can tell it's the Doom engine, but when you play Doom 2 on the Game Boy Advance, it feels like they might have put the game on a different engine, or made some heavy modifications to the port that really hurt the overall feel of the game. And maybe one of these days I'll try to do Doom 2 on the Game Boy Advance. I've never been able to get into it though because it feels so odd. It definitely does not feel like Doom 2. And it's kind of hard to put my thoughts into words, but we'll definitely talk about it more later on. I'm going to go ahead and try to get these couple of secrets here, because there's the supercharge again. There's also going to be a rocket launcher, and so we might as well pick up that rocket launcher just to help us along the way. So this first episode of levels isn't really that bad for me. I mean, I've kind of got these levels like memorized like the back of my hand. I mean, actually, to be honest, most of these levels I do. It is Doom. It's one of my most played franchises of all time. I still play Doom quite frequently, classic Doom, and so these levels are, you know, very, very familiar to me. But some of the later levels do get quite challenging in these console versions of the game, where they start starving you of a lot of ammunition, and the levels become very, very risky to traverse through. So we'll see what happens. The good thing about this version of the game is that, again, it gives you a save option, and the saving actually does save your ammo, your weapons and ammo. I'm going to go ahead and just leave those guys running around, because we're not going to go there. So one of the other things that happened by going to that secret that I did, it allows us, erases that bridge right there and allows us to go to the secret level, but we're not going to do that, because that's going to save us probably about 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay, which will be better for me later on in case I die, which is quite possible in this version of the game. The few times I have gone through this version, I have died about halfway through the game, and I'd like to keep it from happening, but as usual, I make no guarantees, so we'll just kind of see what happens. So basically, any time saved is good time to me. Now, I'm definitely taking my time trying to kill these guys. I'm taking it nice and slow. And it's one of the things about these home versions of Doom, is it's okay to take things slow, and it's actually the recommended way. Whereas in PC Doom, I have a tendency of just blasting through everything as quickly as I can, because I have so much more ability to move quickly around the map space. See, there's a chainsaw. In these home versions of the game, it's not as easy to move around rapidly while still remaining accurate. And a part of that is due to the sluggish nature for some of these ports, like the Game Boy Advance, the 32X, the Jaguar version, etc., etc. So in these versions of the game, you're better off taking things slow, you know, taking a nice, slow, easy aim. Now, you do want to still be moving a little bit. You'll notice that I'm still, like, inching to the left and right slowly as I'm dealing with these enemies. And one thing that's actually throwing me off about this version of the game is they use the damage sound effect when you fall in this game. So, like, every time I fall and I land on the floor, I think I'm taking damage from some other enemy, you know, on the other side of the map, but I'm not actually taking damage. One of the other really great things about this version of the game is that they actually implemented the map screens between stages, which they did not do in the Jaguar and 32X versions of the game. And the reason I keep bringing those up is I am pretty sure these levels were based on those versions of the game. The 32X game was based on the Jaguar version, and many versions since used the Jaguar, sort of like the Jaguar version as a base, in terms of, you know, the level design and progression and so forth. For instance, the 3DO version did it. Of course, that did it for totally different reasons. The 32X version did it, obviously. Even the PlayStation and Saturn versions of Doom also use the same level structure and layout as the Jaguar versions, at least in terms of the levels that were in both versions. So the PlayStation version of Doom is fantastic because it's got pretty much every level from classic Doom and Doom 2. Whereas, like, the Jaguar version only has, like, 20 some odd stages from the original Doom trilogy. The original PS1 version has all of them, including the... Actually, I think it might be missing one or two levels, now that I think about it. But it also has levels from Thy Flesh Consumed, which is episode 4 from Ultimate Doom. But the levels that are in the Jaguar version, that made their way to the PS1 version, they're pretty much structured the same way. They have the same cutbacks, you know, like the pillars on the very first episode 1, map 1 hangar level are chopped out of the PS1 version. Things like that. But this, the Game Boy Advance version, it's like pretty much identical to like the Jaguar version in terms of the level structure and whatnot. So, and that's why I keep bringing up those things. Let's see if there's a guy stuck in this wall. Yep, that's the telltale sign right there. It's based on the Jaguar version. The exact same thing happens in the Jaguar game and the 32X game. There's an enemy stuck in that wall. And that's actually a good thing to point out right there, is not the enemy stuck in the wall, but the fact of the censorship I was talking about earlier. So let's run back here real quick. Like, check this out. Nothing. So there's a texture in, you know, the other versions of the game that basically showed a dude hanging up there and like his body and blood was just splattered all over the wall. And it's not in this version. So there is some censorship as well. I don't mind there being censorship like that. I mean, it's a Nintendo platform from the time. I understand Nintendo wanting to have, like, a more kiddie image, or more family-friendly image. Not that, you know, blasting open these imps' heads is really any worse, you know, or any less worse with green blood versus red, you know. The imagery is still there, which to me would be the damaging part, if you really care about that stuff in any length of detail. But yeah, I don't mind the censorship. I mean, to me, Doom's always been more about the gameplay, less about the blood and guts. The blood and guts, yeah, they're cool. I mean, especially when you were like 12, you know, seeing this game for the first time. Yeah, it was really cool seeing, you know, all the blood and guts and so forth. You know, just in the same kind of way as it was cool seeing Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 when they were new. But really, you know, what keeps me coming back to Doom is not the blood and guts, it's the gameplay. I love how Doom feels and how smooth it is to play. It's just such a very fluid, smooth experience. It's got a great balance of, you know, fast gameplay with a good level of challenge, but it's not too difficult. You know, and I've played it so much, I've become so comfortable with the game that even the hardest levels in the game can still be a relatively smooth ride for me. And it's actually like a relaxing game for me to play now. Like I said, I've played so much Doom over the years. It's just one of those games, you know, I can kick back and play Doom anytime, in pretty much any mood, any frame of mind. So some people are going to care about the censorship issues in this game, but for me, I don't really care. If anything, it's interesting to play through the game because I'll go through the game and I'll start picking out the things that are missing, and that's kind of like one of the things I like doing when I play these different versions of, you know, the same game. It's like the various ports of, you know, the Mortal Kombat, the various ports of Doom, the various ports of Wolfenstein, things like that. It's interesting to go through games with lots of conversions and figuring out the differences as you play through them. And it makes for unique experiences, you know, or different types of experiences with the same game, basically, and I do enjoy doing that. So we're still doing pretty good in terms of health and things like that. I predict that we will do pretty solid for the most part, although this level is usually a sticking point for me. There are a couple of sections in this level, one that we're coming up on in just a few moments, that can drain my health relatively quickly if I don't do things just right. So we'll see what happens here. And try to take these guys out from the other side of the room if I can. Just try to take things as safe as possible. Should probably switch over to my shotgun because there's so much ammo here. So what you want to do is take out these imps first, because these platforms actually come down, and then the imps can basically follow you out. And one of the keys to surviving in Doom is just making sure that you don't have enemies constantly following you, because they will gang up on you. Like, these walls open up, and I want to come up here and try to take these guys out from the side. And on the opposite side, another wall opened up, so I want to come back over here, try to take these guys out. Although it looks like they weren't triggered yet, so they could have just sat there the whole time. It would have been fine. There's probably another pinky behind me. Yep, he's over there on the other side. Let's take this guy out. There's gonna be more dudes over here. They have a tendency of just getting, like, ganged up on this wall if you trigger them. Let's take out this dude. Okay, good section, actually. A lot of times I take damage here, so, you know, I've come close to dying many, many times. Actually, I have died many, many times on this section. And as I've showed in other versions of the game, you can actually use a trick here. Okay, it's not what I was intending. You can shoot the walls here, basically, and kill the enemies that are actually hiding up top. Now, the game has an auto-aim system where if there's an enemy on a higher platform, your bullet actually goes to where they are, including rockets. And so what happened here is I sat here, it detected the enemy, even though, like, there was still that ceiling at the top there. and the rocket went into the ceiling, and the rockets do blast damage in this game, and they do tons and tons of damage. And so that's actually what happened there. Is I was trying to do the trick where I just shoot the guys through the wall, basically, with the rocket launcher splash damage. But the rocket ended up going into the ceiling because of how the auto-aim works in the game. Oops. So basically, walking on this platform is what triggers these columns. And then once you walk across the columns slowly, they rise up. Alright, so there's going to be another secret here, and there's going to be another chainsaw, in case you missed it. Missed the multiple other occasions where you could have gotten it. So the chainsaw probably will come in handy later on in the game. And my god, this biosuit it's quite bright, even on the lowest brightness setting. Remember, we turned the brightness down all the way in this game, and yet it's still relatively bright. Again, like I said, the original Game Boy Advance screen was insanely dark, and so they had to basically make things absurdly bright in this game. Alright, so we've got the yellow key, we need to actually come back. Looks like I've got max shotgun's shells, so let's go ahead and just switch back to that. One thing I need to do in this playthrough is make good conscious decisions about my ammo usage, and the big thing is that it's going to catch up to me later on in the game if I you know, utilize things like my chain gun when I don't need to. So if I see a bunch of shotguns on the ground, I should probably be using the shotgun and not my chain gun. And vice versa. If I see lots of bullets on the ground, I should probably use my chain gun and not my shotgun. Or even bust up my rocket launcher here and there, you know? It's definitely going to come into play starting with Episode 2. Not so much Episode 1, but Episode 2 in particular. Now, what's gonna be interesting is, I don't remember if the game throws you into Episode 2 and lets you keep all your weapons and ammo in this version of the game. So I guess we're gonna find out. See, what I could also do here is just use the chainsaw, but that would help me conserve ammunition much more. And just like in other versions of the game, no goggles. The goggles allow you to see in pretty much any scenario, even in pitch black situations. Really cool power-up in classic Doom, with all the dynamic lighting in that classic version of the game, the original. But unfortunately, many of the home ports are missing that item, which is actually kind of surprising to me. I'm surprised they didn't include that. Maybe it's just due to, you know, memory limitations, space limitations on the medium at the time. So, like the Jaguar version, you know, it was on a cartridge, and the carts had limited storage space, basically. Same with the 32X version and whatnot. So, or maybe it was just because they didn't want to implement it. Maybe they just, you know, they were trying to get the game out quickly. We're going to go ahead and just use the chainsaw right here. There's a bunch of pinkies. And these are called pinky demons. And we usually just call them pinkies for short. I switch back up to a good weapon. There we go. It's good enough for me. So, on a complete side note, unrelated to Doom itself, I meant to actually talk about this in the beginning of the Let's Play. But in case it is happening, I apologize for waiting until now to talk about it. I've recently been having capture card problems on my desktop here. And the capture card software has been acting extremely finicky with syncing up game audio with the footage itself. And so if the game audio is wildly out of sync with the actual gameplay itself, I totally apologize for that. There's not really anything I can do right now about it, apparently. I've tried various different software packages from my game capture manufacturer, and so I actually just reinstalled the application today, right before doing this Let's Play, with an older version of the software. So we're going to see if that fixes it. Hopefully there aren't any sync issues, but again, if there are, I apologize. I mean, I could realistically just, you know, can the Let's Play, but I really don't want to sit 2 to 3 hours through a playthrough and have to basically delete the footage and the voiceover. So I'm just going to slap it together as is, and we'll just kind of see what happens. So if that happens, I apologize again, guys. There's been a couple of other recent Let's Plays where there have been sync issues, and trust me, I've been trying to troubleshoot it. I really hate having my videos come out inconsistent like that, and I understand it's probably not very fun watching them that way, but, you know, it is what it is, and hopefully we don't have problems with this Let's Play in that regard. So we're actually about halfway through this stage, close to it, and I'm actually taking my sweet time, just trying to kill these pinkies as they come right to me. I've got max health, max ammo, and another biosuit, so I can barely see what's going on, even on the lowest brightness setting. So yeah, we're getting close. We're probably, yeah, we're about halfway through the stage. So we're gonna come through here. There's gonna be like a switch that we can flip, and a bunch of enemies to take out, naturally. And always take out the zombie soldiers if you can, because they shoot all the way across the room. With the imps, you just want to constantly be strafing left and right. If you can do that, then you're pretty much good on taking them out consistently without taking damage. It's actually interesting because, like, in the very beginning of the game, I was getting nailed by enemies left and right. And on, you know, these later stages that I've been playing, I haven't really been having any issues. I haven't been getting hit. Maybe it was just I needed to warm up. Perhaps that was it. I'm not sure, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the chainsaw. Thought I heard some enemies attacking each other. And I think they did. The pinkies, I think, were actually attacking the shotgun soldiers. Shotgun zombies. One of the coolest things about Doom, and it's something I never really took advantage of back in the day, but something I have been taking advantage of much more frequently, is the monster infighting. So if an opposite style enemy attacks another enemy by accident, say like an imp throws a fireball into a pinky, pretty much 100% of the time that pinky will turn around and go and attack the imp until the imp is dead, or the pinky's dead. And it's basically the same with just about every enemy. So if you can get a bunch of projectile guys to accidentally shoot pinky demons or zombie guys or whatnot, you can have the enemies take each other out for you, and that's one way to conserve ammunition later on in the game. So whenever that happens in this playthrough, I'm going to go ahead and try to just take advantage of it. There's going to be a bunch of guys up here, and I want to just try to take out... Is that a barrel? No, that's like a lamppost. Okay. With the Game Boy Advance's lower resolution, I could barely see. It's like, is that an enemy, or is that another object? I have no idea. There were actually enemies up there, but they were a little bit too far in for me to see. So there's going to be a switch around here, which is going to open up this door to the right over there, with some imps. Let's go ahead and take these imps out. Take out the zombie guys too. Zombie guys are the worst right now, so... The thing about imps is that they do more damage from a longer range, So like the zombie soldiers have to be up relatively close to do the most damage. But with imps, they'll just do a lot of damage no matter where they are because their fireballs go all the way across the room. See, I ran up right between both zombies, and they actually dished out about 30 to 40 damage between the two. Let's go ahead and grab this biosuit. Grab these bullets. Alright, so let's come back out here real quick. I want to just make sure... Ooh, I can't. I'm locked in. That's okay. Not a big deal. Yeah, whenever I see barrels in the room, I like to try to, you know, attack those, because if there's enemies around them... Whoa, that was not supposed to happen right away. That was not supposed to happen. Yeah, so I'll kind of explain this in just a minute once I kill all these dudes. But that definitely triggered when it wasn't supposed to trigger. I need to be careful, actually. I don't want to die. We just lost a bunch of health. I mean, yeah, I'm still at max health, but... It does appear that I can still lose health really, really quickly if I let my guard down. So basically what happens is you're supposed to... These walls don't open up until you run in here by the switch. So, yeah, it wasn't supposed to open up until I actually moved in there, but it opened up on its own, and that was really, really odd. I've never seen that happen before. Alright, so we're going to switch down to... our chainsaw. We're going to go ahead and flip the switch. More pinkies are going to appear. Just another way to conserve ammunition. What I can do is just come here. Alright, very good. I think it's going to be one more pinky. And it's actually interesting they fixed this pinky in this version, because in other versions of the game, the pinky is actually stuck in this wall right here. And it's actually kind of funny. I'll just walk right past him. All right, see if we can come back out. Cool. I just want to make sure there's no other ammo up here. Bullets are good because we're not maxed out on our bullet count. And those are just like imps and whatnot. I don't need to kill those guys. And if I open up this yellow door, I think there's going to be some pinkies up top. Let's see. Hello. And we're just going to skip them. Oh, are you kidding me? I've got to flip the switch again. I swear, this game, man. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, no, the door is open now. I was like, I thought that the door wasn't gonna open back up. That actually kind of scared me for a minute. I was like, did we just break the game? All right, let's get rid of the chainsaw. Thankfully, we did not break the game. Alright, so we're actually getting close to the end of episode 1. This is the second to last stage. If I really wanted to, switch over to the rocket launcher here, take out a bunch of guys in just a couple of hits. Yeah, one of the interesting things about this version of the game, and probably one of the things I'm not a big fan of, is it seems like they did cycle the music around in certain areas. So like the backing music that was kind of like meant for very specific stages in the game has been toyed with. And so you get like this totally different feel from these stages. And I guess that can be interesting, but it always kind of weirds me out when I play this version of the game. And I think some other versions of Doom actually did the same thing. I'm trying to think off the top of my head which ones did that, but... Alright, so let's make our way down this way. There's going to be a key up top here. And we're going to try to take these guys out. Always got to be careful at this part because there's some soldiers up there. And more down there on the bottom. Definitely want to take those guys out first. Oh, I keep missing. I'm missing like a champ. Let's try to take all these dudes out too. Yeah, nice and sluggish now. These really, really wide open rooms. And this is exactly why, like, the enemies disappear in this version of the game. To try to keep that frame rate up. Just making sure there's nothing else over there. And we'll just come over here. And we're going to do the rocket launcher trick here too. See? Alright, it's gonna be a bunch of dudes up here. Ah, who am I kidding? It's Doom. There's a bunch of dudes everywhere. Pretty much every room you go to in Doom has enemies. So, I sound like a broken record, I know. So, here we go into this room. There's gonna be some enemies up here. And you guys are probably like, well, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. But that's the nature of Let's Plays. I feel like I'm obligated to explain what I'm doing. Even when it's painfully obvious. Alright, so switch back to the shotgun. We've replenished some of that ammo. And we're going to actually take this elevator up. And we're going to fall off the left side. Or this side, specifically. There's going to be a biosuit down there. We can open this up for a secret. Some ammo. A switch. And then there's going to be a little cubby right here with some mega armor. Armor is glorious in this game. It basically reduces the amount of damage that enemies do. And I think we need to come over here, yep, to get the blue key. And now we can go back through the yellow door. Some dudes over there, but you know what? I don't care. Let's just skip them. I don't think they're going to catch up with me. There's also some dudes outside, but we're just gonna skip those two because I've already got almost max health and armor. I don't really need the supercharge or the soul sphere. All right, maybe I will need it. That's my mistake right there. It's just letting those guys just roam on their own. But what's actually good about coming out to this secret here is that you can take out a lot of the guys in the last corridor. Up top here. If the auto aim wants to work. There we go. And there's also going to be some dudes over here. All right. Now we can go get the soul sphere. Get a little more ammo back. What's interesting about the PS1 version of this game is that they added in extra enemies at certain parts of the game that either weren't there to begin with or weren't even in that version of Doom originally. So on this section specifically, and there's a revenant like right here from Doom 2, and you're like, oh, that's not supposed to be there. It's kind of one of the cool things about playing PlayStation Doom and Saturn Doom, since it's based on PS1 Doom, is those modifications that id Software made to that version of the game. Alright, I'd say we're making pretty good progress overall. This is the final stage for Episode 1. And it's really interesting that they made all these guys zombies instead of pinky demons. They were supposed to be pinky demons in other versions of the game. And we're pretty much at max ammo, so for like the Alright, so these are the Barons of Hell. This is where these guys are introduced. They usually take about 5 or 6 rockets. And since I barely used the rocket launcher, I'm still going to have a lot of rocket ammo left over. And then once you take those guys out, the wall is lower down. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, the music on this stage is not correct. It really changes the atmosphere of the game. Which, again, is just something... It makes it interesting to go through if you're really used to other versions of the game. Like, I don't know if that was intentional. Okay, cool. It still gives us the, our weapons and ammo. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to come through this teleporter first. Because there's going to be a secret there that I want to get, and I figure I might as well not go to the same area twice. Might as well just go to it once. And this is actually one of the ways I've been, like, sort of better optimizing my regular playthroughs of Doom. Probably thanks to playing it a lot on Twitch and doing a lot of YouTube Let's Plays. I'm like, how can I do things differently? So one thing I'm doing differently now when I play this game is not going to get the blue key first, but just coming here, flipping these switches, which is going to reveal another key, but it's also going to reveal one of my secrets I need, which requires me to go back, like so. And let's switch up to the chain gun. Now with the chain gun, it has a tendency of shooting so quickly that you can basically stun enemies in their tracks. Now it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it works consistently enough to where you can feel pretty safe smacking a cacodemon in the face over and over again with the chain gun, and not risk him, or not too much anyways, not risk him throwing fireballs at you, or back at you. Switch back to the shotgun. And what I could do here, if I really wanted to, just another way to save ammo. And you can see how that imp was actually going for that zombie, because the zombie hit the imp, which pretty much automatically triggers the imp to move in the opposite direction. So let's try to take these guys out. Mega armor, we got a map. The map is pretty much useless right now because we already know where the secrets are. There's going to be a Kako up here. And there's going to be another cacodemon down here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use the chain gun. I was going to use the plasma gun, but we're going to save that for later. Whoa, he still shot me. Okay, let's go back and get a little bit of health, actually. I know there's a bunch of health left over, so just want to play it safe. And realistically, if I really, really wanted to, I can go get more ammo, because I know there's a lot of ammo left over, too. I might as well, actually. Bam, full ammo. We're going to need everything we can get from this point on, so I definitely need to take things relatively safe if I want to do this playthrough without dying. I'd prefer to do it without dying. So this is where we finally get our Berserk power up. This basically raises the damage potential for our fists for the rest of this stage. And if I wanted to, if I really wanted to conserve ammo, I can try to take a lot of these guys out with just my fists. It's risky, but you can also save lots of ammo doing it, basically. It's not something I really do on the console version of the game because it's just very, very risky. Or the handheld version, specifically, since we're playing the Game Boy Advance version. But in the PC version, it's a ton of fun just trying to go through the levels with just your fists. Let's go back. I know there's going to be some more health here somewhere. Most likely. Okay, that's right, that's armor. Okay, here's a little bit of health. But yeah, if you guys ever check me out on Twitch, and you watch me playing Doom, you'll notice me going through the game pretty frequently with just my fists. or going through much of the game with just my fists, as long as the Berserk power-up is there in a level. It's definitely fun doing that. I like doing that quite a bit. It definitely makes things interesting. Okay, I want to come down here because I think there's going to be some plasma cells. Yeah, there's a plasma gun up there. Whoa, where'd you come from? Yep, plasma cells. Plasma cells are very, very good. I'm trying to figure out how to get that back down. Maybe you only have a one-time chance. I don't know. Alright, so we need to come here though, because this has our key, but it also has the supercharge. And coming back down is going to give us, I think, our red key, which is what we need to actually exit the stage. There we go. If we really wanted to, we can just come right back up. The beautiful thing about level design in Doom is, in many cases, you can go through the levels in like multiple different ways. Like, you don't, it's like, oh, I got the red key now, I have to go back this very specific way. It's like, no, it doesn't really work like that. And we're going to take advantage of the fact that we can just run out here without dying. In other versions of the game, that's actually a pit. It's a very long acid pit. I don't remember if you can actually escape from it or not. There's a few points in classic Doom where you can get stuck when you fall down a pit of some kind. There's going to be another Berserk power-up on this stage, but fortunately I don't think we're going to need it, because I did a pretty good job of conserving ammo on the last couple of levels. Normally I start running out of ammo by this point in the game. We've got almost 30 rockets. I'm going to save the Berserk until I come out. It's going to be a couple of cacodemons. Here's one. Let's try to take these guys out first. And then come over here. Got a bunch of shells. And I don't think we can punch those guys through the window. So these cacodemons on the other side, they're pretty much of no threat as long as you get past them. So I don't tend to waste my ammo on them. If I do, I just use rockets or something like that. And I really want to take out these Lost Souls first. So this is, I guess, the first level in this version of Doom where the Lost Souls are introduced. And they're basically just flaming skulls that float. And they're pretty much the most annoying enemies in the game. Like, hands down. We're going to switch up to our rocket launcher. He's dead. So like I said, they typically take 5 or 6 rockets. The Barons of Hell. Switch back down to our shotgun. Now it's good to actually come into this room first. because you're going to have to eventually fall down here anyway. So you might as well just come get the key. And then come over here. And the reason you would want to come is because there's some cell ammunition. So the plasma gun is the best weapon in the game for most scenarios. There is the BFG, which is fantastic, but it eats up a ton of ammo. And you don't want to just go around the level and just, you know, guns blazing with it, because you're going to waste the ammo. You're going to waste the ammo very, very quickly, actually. So let's see, is the BFG here in this version of the game? Let's find out. It is in some other versions. It is in this version too. Very awesome. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played through this version, so I wasn't 100% sure. Back to the shotgun. This is where I mostly max ammo for it. So one way you had to play the Jaguar and 32X versions of the game, because you had no individual strafe keys, was you kind of had to like poke around the corners like this if you wanted to play it safe. But thankfully in Game Boy Advance Doom, you've got individual strafe keys, so you can circle strafe easily. And I'm just going to take my time here, take things safe. It's very easy for enemies to gang up on you here and pretty much catch you off guard. Let's go back, see what kind of ammo we can get. Alright, so what we're going to do is switch over to the plasma gun. And we're going to try to take out a Cacodemon right here. I want to make sure all these dudes are dead first, too. And the reason I wanted to do that... Ooh. I wasn't expecting him to just run right back at me. So the reason I wanted to do that is because there's a secret over here. I just wanted to make sure those guys were dead before I did this. Bam, because there's a supercharge right there. Now in other versions of the game, there's actually a secret over there. You get to a secret stage. But not in this version. Still making pretty good progress. We're probably about halfway through the game now. And we're going to go ahead and skip that room up top. But we will come in here. And for that secret right there, you actually have to shoot the wall. It's one of the few times in the game where you have to actually shoot the wall to collect the secret area. Or access the secret area. See, there they go, doing the monster infighting. And we're gonna come this way first. We're going to go get our key. There's going to be a Baron of Hell here, so I'm going to switch over to my rocket launcher in just a moment. And you know what? We'll switch back to... And that's why you don't do that. It's okay, I think we'll be fine. I know there's going to be some health packs up top, but I did just technically waste my my supercharge by doing that. If that was the PC version, I probably could have done it without taking damage, but this is not the PC version. But there is going to be a Berserk power-up, so the Berserk power-ups actually give you full health back. Or at least they give you 100 health, up to 100 health max. So let's try to take our time here. It's very easy to fall off this part, so... And if we fall off to the left here, we get our Berserk. So bam, there's our health. And we have a Biosuit and the Berserk power-up at the same time. I can barely see what's happening. See if the Baron follows us back out. Come on. So grabbing the yellow key opens up this door right here. You flip the switch and it opens that one. And I'm going to go ahead and keep the plasma gun for now, just to make this next part a little bit easier. So we're going to skip a whole bunch of areas here too. We're going to skip that area. There's a secret right down here we can skip. It's all optional stuff. You can basically just come down here, but there's going to be several cacodemons. And so we basically need to come up here, and collecting this supercharge will trigger the next room that we need to go to. So in other versions of the game, there's actually a big stairwell, and this room is technically higher up. And I do want to conserve that ammo if I can. So this part's a little bit tricky if you've never done it before. You have to actually come down here and flip this switch. And when you flip the switch, a platform rises up. Now, you can either take this teleporter, or you can try to rush onto the platform as it's going up. And there's also a secret right here, which raises up this platform, which will give you another supercharge. Now, you have to be careful not to fall down into that little bit of that pit there that you just formed, because you won't be able to get back out. So I always just take my time on this part. And there's always just a couple of imps right here. And that's it. Alright, switch back over to our shells, because there's a lot of shell ammo here. There's going to be some zombies. And here's some imps. Totally optional secrets right here. But if you're low on shell ammo, there's 2 boxes of shells up there. 1 on each side, basically. So basically this first room is symmetrical. And each of these sides has imps and a box of shells. So there's going to be a couple of barons that appear right here. If I really wanted to, I could take them out. But if I also really wanted to, I could just skip them. Here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm going to save that ammo, just to make later stages easier. There's an imp. And what's interesting is in other versions of the game, they don't come through that door. So we'll see if they actually do the same thing in this version. Now, some of these tricks I just learned because I've been playing the game on Nightmare on PC, and Nightmare on PC is a completely different beast than Nightmare on any other version, or any other perfect PC port version, like the Xbox 360 or PS3 versions. Nightmare mode on the PC original, enemies are constantly respawning, so it's a totally different kind of game than it is like right now. You basically have to just rush through the stages as fast as you can. Otherwise, you just end up dealing with an infinite amount of enemies, and it's just crazy, crazy hard. Okay, lots of bullets. Bullets are good for your pistol as well as your chain gun. And this leads us to our exit, I believe. In the PC version of the game, it does not. There's gonna be another Baron over here. I'll just blast them with some shotguns. Shotgun shells! Alright, so we're gonna come around here first. Make sure there's nothing in here. Yep, there's nothing in there. And then the reason for that is there's gonna be a ton of pinky demons that spawn out here. And I just want to get this armor. Okay, I want to miss the armor, apparently. Crap, now I have to kill them all. Actually, you know what? Doesn't matter that much. It definitely would have been helpful, but I think I can deal without the mega armor. I'd rather not waste my my ammo. It's so weird, just with this altered music. I mean, the music sounds totally different to begin with because it's, it's the Game Boy Advance sound hardware. It's not exactly the best sound hardware on the face of the planet. But the fact that they changed basically the track progression in the game is just, it's still interesting to me. So another chainsaw here in case you missed one, or if you died and didn't save your progress. Which means you'd have to reset the stage with, I think, no weapons and no ammo. I think that's how it works in this game. I know that's how it works in other versions of the game. Let's actually go back. I think there might be some health we missed. Yeah, there's one. There's another. Alright, good enough for me. So from this point on, this is kind of where the game starts to become a little more challenging for these home versions of Doom, these PC conversions from back in the day. It's sort of like a combination of just, you know, the devious enemy placement as well as, you know, the ammo starvation. It definitely becomes more challenging here. I'm going to try to take out these lost souls first. Now, I want to try something here, and I don't know if this works. I think it does, but I've just never done it before. Let's open this, and then run through, and then run straight back. Crap, we messed up. I wanted to just run straight back through that door. But I ended up running back at like a slight angle. It's one of the things about using the GameCube controller for this is we're playing this with the Game Boy player on the GameCube. So I'm basically using the GameCube controller with its rinky-dink, tiny D-pad. And it's not the most accurate thing because I think my thumb is like bigger than the entirety of the D-pad itself. So it's definitely not a great D-pad for my hands, unfortunately. And playing games like this, sometimes I have a tendency of not moving perfectly straight. I just want to take these guys out just in case I accidentally trigger them. I think there's also going to be a Baron of Hell. I love the sound effects in this game. Like the sound of the rocket launcher especially is just, it makes this very deep, like booming sound as you fire it. It's very satisfying. Alright, so I heard some doors open. I'm going to try to take these guys out because they're going to be here when we come back anyway. And another Baron. That's why I have a plasma gun. Here's a backpack. So backpacks raise your maximum amount of ammunition. So we're already capped out at the highest that we're allowed to carry. But still, it gives you a little bit of ammo across the board, even if you've already collected it once in a playthrough. So backpacks are good regardless. It's always good to pick them up. Alright, so we can pretty much exit now. We can go back. And go back through that door. Whoa, if we can find it. Of course, we can always use the auto map. Unfortunately, the auto map doesn't... you can't run around with the auto map on in this version of the game. So that's sad. Oh, there it is. Cool. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's exit this stage. Alright. There we go. So in other versions of the game, on the hardest difficulty, this is where the game becomes quite challenging for the console versions of the game. Particularly like the 32X and Jaguar versions of the game. On the hardest difficulty modes in those versions, I've actually gotten here and gotten a game over. And basically had to just restart the entire play session because when you restart in those versions of the game, you lose all your weapons and ammo. And it was just like impossible for me to recover starting off this stage with no weapons, no ammo. Fortunately, again, like I said, the Game Boy Advance version does allow you to save, so if we do die, I don't think we're going to really have a problem recovering. And I don't think we're going to die. We do have a considerable amount of ammo for other weapons. We have a lot of, bullets, we have, we have rockets, we have cells. We've got the works, basically. Alright, so that's our red key. What I want to do is actually try to come back this way. No, not that way. Never mind. Thinking of, must be thinking of a different version. So the thing about these, like, trimmed down levels is, you're used to doing things in, say, like, the PC version of the game. But it doesn't quite work that way in some of these versions. Because some of those sections just aren't even there. Alright, so we're going to come here. I just want to show you what you can do here. It's actually quite unnecessary. Let me make sure there's nobody here to corner me in. Actually, what I'm going to do is, I think there's an invincibility power up here. Here it is. The reason I wanted to come back here is because there's some ammunition. Like, I don't have any shotgun shells right now, so I was like, it would probably be a good idea to come back. Plus, there's a little bit of health. But what I wanted to show you guys was a secret here that I actually haven't started collecting until just recently. Where is it? Right here. And I don't really need it, actually, but what it is Mega Armor. And it requires the red key to get that. And let's make sure we don't fall down here. And that's it. So, is this the level I am thinking of? Let's see. It's one of the levels I'm thinking of. This level is new to the console versions of Doom from back in the mid-90s, and thus it made it into the Game Boy Advance version. Tower of Babel is a level that you fight the Cyber Demon at in Episode 2 of Classic Doom. However, in the console versions and subsequently the Game Boy Advance version, it's chopped out, basically. You still go to the Tower of Babel, but it's far from the same stage. And it is definitely a tricky level. And especially tricky if you've run out of ammo. Which I have done in other versions of the game. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to try to conserve my ammo in this playthrough as much as I possibly could. Alright, so flipping this switch will open up one of these doors, revealing some enemies. Now, it's very easy to actually get ganged up here and cornered. And that's basically the risk you run on this level. And it's actually happened to me before. Because in certain cases, it almost feels like these enemies are just coming out of nowhere. Like one door just keeps opening up after another. And that's it. So I basically just skipped the Baron. I was just like, I don't want to waste my cell ammo. Alright, so this is one of my least favorite levels in the game, so we'll see how we do here. And this is a level I have died at quite a few times in the Game Boy Advance version of Doom. Switch over to our shotgun. Fortunately, we have a lot of cells, so I don't think we're gonna have a problem. It's one of the beautiful things about conserving your ammunition for a game like this that gets challenging later on. And one of the great things about Doom is that you're not necessarily locked into having to, you know, combat your enemies a very specific way. Like, if you really want to risk it, you can get a Berserk power-up and punch your way through the enemies and save ammo. So I'm going to take out these imps first, because I'm going to trigger some pinkies when I cross that other door that just opened up. And if I really wanted to, I could just bust out my chainsaw right here, which is probably the better way to do it when you've got pinky demons. Alright, so this is one of the trickier rooms in this level. My auto-aim's not working on those guys in the distance. There we go. I wanted to get rid of that stuff up there, because I have to eventually go up there. I definitely don't want any explosive barrels next to me when I'm up there. And preferably the least amount of enemies possible as well. Okay, I think we're gonna be fine. Alright, let's bust out our plasma gun again. Actually, some rockets are probably fine. Rockets are really good on cacodemons. It takes 2 or 3 rockets. Bam, that was 2 for that one. I was like, you know, I've got some rockets. I've got rocket ammo. Why not? And speaking of which, let's just switch back. Why not? Because there's going to be another cacodemon down here. Perfect way to deal with those guys. The thing about the rockets is you've got to be really comfortable using them because you can blow yourself up just as fast as you can blow other enemies up. But when you're really accurate with the rocket launcher, it's a fantastic weapon. Speaking of which, I actually could use the BFG here, but I'm not going to. Rocket launcher is my new best friend. Oops, don't want to use that. Don't want to waste my ammo on the BFG. Alright, just trying to make sure there's no extra ammo up here. Let's actually switch over to my plasma gun. Because there's going to be some plasma cells over here. When there's a lot of enemies like this, I don't have as much of a problem using my plasma gun. Or some of these more powerful weapons in the game. That's what they're there for. They're there to take out rooms of enemies faster. Or really big enemies faster. And like I said earlier, when there's replenishment, you might as well collect it. Well, obviously you want to collect it, but you also want to use it. Running out of ammo again. Switch back to our chain gun. Yeah, you can probably see what I've been talking about throughout this whole playthrough is once you get farther into the game, you start getting ammo starved a little bit more. And so it's much easier to run out of ammunition later on in the game. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and just fall down here. And come over here. For that. And this. Another BFG. And the blue key, which we need. Alright, so how do I want to deal with this guy? Let's not. Alright, walking on this platform opens up this wall. And then flipping that brings up these stairs, which gives us the mega armor. Alright, since I'm low on ammo, I'm going to come back down here and actually try to work on this Baron of Hell. And I'm going to explore the rest of the level a little bit. Pretty sure I'm missing a few things. So there's like a box of bullets. Alright, so let's come back through here. Another supercharge. So in other versions of the game, this actually cuts through to the beginning of the stage. So this level does what I sort of explained earlier, where it just sort of... A lot of levels wrap around. You don't have to go through them in a very linear manner. Which is one of the great things about this game. Or Doom specifically. Not necessarily all versions of Doom, but even like the trimmed back versions of Doom usually still give you a little bit of flexibility. Like this whole area I went to right here, I could have come from the opposite way if I really wanted to. But I chose to go a different way to get here, basically. And if I wanted to play really risky, I could have come here first, got the Berserk power-up, and then worked my way through the rest of the stage. But there's a backpack, there's some shells. Having plasma cells is really good, but having shotgun shells and bullets is probably even better for the long run. I don't think this opens up. I didn't think so. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know where that Pinky Demon came from. Must have been right here. Yep. Alright, I think that worked out. We ended up getting some shells, some bullets, and whatnot. Let's actually come over to the left this time. And that's it. Keep going for that barrel, but it wasn't, the auto aim wasn't doing its job. That can be a little frustrating about Doom. You know, Doom is, as amazing as it is, it's still not perfect. It has some flaws like that. Where like the auto aim system just doesn't kick in when it should, you know, things like that. Alright, so we're gonna switch down to our plasma gun for this part coming up. Gonna be a room with a bunch of enemies in here. And I think there might be a Berserk power-up, so I figured I might as well pick it up. Yeah. But I also just want to blast through these guys real quick. There we go. So there's a whole section that was basically chopped out of the you know, some of the console versions back in the day, which those changes made their way to the Game Boy Advance version. So basically we just teleported past a room that should have been there but isn't there. See, this is where using the Berserk power-up would really come in handy, because you can just, like, wail on these pinkies without wasting ammunition. And if this was the PC version, I would totally do that. But in this version, it takes too long to scroll your weapons back down to your fists in this game. It's just not worth the trouble, in my opinion. I mean, unless the pinkies are, like, all the way on the other side of the room. So for right now, I'll basically just, I'll use my ammo, which I don't want to do, but I also don't want to be taking damage from these enemies. I also don't want to be spending half my time scrolling through my weapons as I play this game. Alright, so there's going to be a cacodemon in this room. And there's going to be a Baron down here with a bunch of lost souls. But we've got the good old plasma gun dishing out the damage for us. There's our blue key. Alright, so let's switch back. So if I see barrels just lingering around, a lot of times I like to take them out in case there's other enemies behind me, like imps that throw fireballs and cause the barrels to explode. Kind of like that cacodemon made that barrel explode. So if I was too close to that barrel, the cacodemon still would have damaged me, even though I dodged his fireball. This is actually a risky room too, because there's a couple of cacodemons, and when cacodemons are like the only thing on screen, they have a tendency of moving around very quickly. And they can be very dangerous. Let me show off the BFG. Bam. Yeah, there's one reason why they call it the big effing gun, and it's an amazing weapon that will pretty much do damage to most things in your sight, and it does a lot of damage too. So it's definitely worth the 40 cells it uses up if you have a room with a ton of enemies in it. There's another BFG that I just picked up. And there's going to be a Baron in here. So I'm going to get ready for it. Switch over to my rocket launcher. There we go. There it is. Yeah, switching through weapons in this game is so cumbersome. Alright, so this setup right here is odd. Stepping on like one of the tiles will actually shut the door in your face, and so you've got to run back and reactivate the tiles. It's just really weird how it works. Alright, we're going to switch back. So not everything's been censored out, as you can see. It's okay to demonstrate barons being torn apart and hanging on walls, but not human beings. Alright, let's try to take out these cacodemons first before I deal with the barons. I thought there was invincibility here. Maybe I'm thinking of the PS1 version of the game. Which I did actually recently run through. Not on YouTube, but I did run through it on Twitch. So, hopefully we can do a Let's Play on that sometime in the future as well. That might be a two-parter, though, for the Ultimate Doom side, because it's a long playthrough. It's like 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah, there's the invincibility. Okay, so what I'm going to do is switch over to my fists. And since I'm invincible now, I can basically just punch people. And this will sort of show you like how fast you can take these guys out with a Berserk power-up. Remember, these guys normally take 5 rockets. 5 or 6 rockets, and you can just tear them up like that. I think that's the exit. I don't think there's anything else left behind, so go ahead and just get prepped for the next stage. And there we go. Alright, so stepping on these teleporters opens up a doorway in here, which usually reveals Barons of Hell, so... Now there's a very specific teleporter here that you want to step through, which will get you to the next area you need to be. And let's see if we can figure that out in this version. In other versions of the game, you need to go through the one that's blinking. That might be this one. Yep. We're going to do the old BFG again. Bam, look at that. That's why the BFG is awesome. But you need to be careful about when you use it, because if you use it with just a couple enemies in the room, you're wasting your ammunition, because it takes 40 cells. It's a lot of ammunition in this game. But those 40 cells can really come in handy if you use it on big groups of enemies, because it is obscenely powerful. It's very, very powerful. There might be a guy behind me. Nope. Okay, cool. Ugh, man, my arm's been itching over like the last half of this playthrough. Same with my nose. My nose has been itching, which is in these long play sessions is can be a little annoying. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, actually, which was expected for this game. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and flip these switches. In other versions of the game, there's actually crushers on those switches. So basically, you try to flip a switch, and you could potentially get crushed if you do it at the wrong time. Alright, there's our blue key. And there's a teleporter there as well, but we're going to skip that. And I just heard a Baron. Switch over to our chain gun. I'm actually going places I don't want to be going to. So let's go... I actually didn't mean to go back. But no, that's actually good. This is where we need to be. And we can actually just exit. There's more level, but we don't need to go through it, basically. We're actually getting close to the end of the game. We're actually not too far off. See, what's interesting about some of the home versions of Doom is that this level in particular, one of the ways it's been changed is that in the PC version, there's a big window here. You can actually jump and fall out of the window. You can't do that in this version of the game. You have to actually come all the way back down. So that whole room right there is actually kind of pointless. You actually don't need to go to it. You just need to run around like so. So what we're going to do is we're going to just run around, try to kill off all like the loose enemies just to make sure we don't take any needless damage. So we're going to skip that room first. Whole bunch of enemies over there. Some invincibility. Good time to run over here so we don't take damage on the lava. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and come here too. While we're invincible. Might as well tank while you've got the invulnerability sphere. There's another one actually, too. Alright, invincibility's run back out, so we'll switch back over to our shotgun. And for this part, you basically have to open up this wall, go through this teleporter, which takes you to this room. In other versions of the game, it takes you to a different open area, whereas in these sort of like cutback home conversions, they modified it to where you don't do that. Which is a shame because there's a secret area you can access with sort of like a really cool method in the classic PC Doom. Alright, so we got a yellow key. Let's get back out. And we're up in this room. I think we get a different key now. You know, I think we're actually not going to have a hard time at all getting through the rest of the game. We got through the most difficult part of the game for myself, personally. So I think it's pretty much just smooth sailing from here on out. Alright, let's fall down. We get the blue key. I think we can exit now. Alright, where is it? Let's grab this. And our exit is in here. Just like that. Alright, so this level is one of the more confusing stages in the game if you're a new player to Doom. So what I'll try to do is explain how to get through it is, or at least to the best of my ability. So first you need to come left. You're eventually going to have to come down this hallway there with a different key. But we're going to have to come over here first. If you go through here, you actually open up a walkway, which features a bunch of enemies. Oh, there's a pinky. A couple pinkies, actually. Let's just go ahead and take them out, otherwise we're gonna have to deal with them on the way back. Or they might gang up on us from behind. So here's our first key, it's the blue key. There's a couple switches to the left over here that we have to flip as well. Let's come in here first. And switch back to our shotgun too. We've got 100 ammo in the shotgun, so... This switch refuses to flip. That's weird. Okay. Let's flip this one then. Odd. I've never had that happen before. Alright. So we're gonna have to come back out now, after we kill these cacodemons. So in this room, you get a rocket launcher and a soul sphere. And now we can come back out. And with the blue key, we can go back to the other side. And this is where things get a little tricky in this section. So we're going to go ahead and just run off to the side here. And just fall straight down. I'm not going to worry about the cacodemons behind me. Which there were a couple. If you use your ears, you can hear enemies being triggered. So in this part, I believe you want to go left, usually. Kill this guy. Might as well grab another suit. And what you want to do is find the area where there's going to be a teleporter. You're in the right spot. You don't want to go through that teleporter. What you want to do is get the key. Flip this switch. Now you can go through the teleporter if you want. And actually what I'm going to do, let me go back. I think there's another thing we have to do here. So this area, I think we have to go through here. Yep, got to flip this switch. Let's go ahead and kill these guys while we're at it. Because again, we're going to have to deal with them regardless, so you might as well just do it from safety. So it's good to do all this while you've still got your biosuit. And later on, we're going to have to come here. I don't think I can come here yet. I think I need the yellow key. Yep, I need that yellow key. But once you have the yellow key, you can go there. That's pretty much the exit. So we're going to come through here. We also need the yellow key for that. So let's go back. There's going to be another biosuit in this area. Right here. Got it. So we're going to have to go through both of these. And we have to go through the other one. There's going to be a switch that we have to flip. And that's right here. Alright, so now we should be able to exit. We've got the yellow key. And that's it for that level. One of the toughest levels in the game for sure. And is this the final stage in the game? I know it is in the Jaguar version. I guess let's find out. Wow, that PFG didn't do anything to that guy. That's weird. It was supposed to, but it didn't. Alright, I think that's all the barons on this section. Let's just go ahead and grab everything. Alright, we're going to switch over to our rocket launcher. There's going to be a bunch of cacodemons in this area. And I'm pretty sure this is the end of the game, but just in case, we're going to go ahead and just grab everything. You need to open up this door. And this switch will reveal your first key. And they basically just give you a key to open up all these doors. It's kind of a gimpy level, but in the original computer game, as well as the Super Nintendo one, it's a secret level. It's not a normal stage in the game. And that's it! We just finished Doom for Game Boy Advance. And what's nice about this version, unlike, say, the Jaguar or 32X versions of the game, is you do have an ending screen like this. I mean, you have ending text in the other versions of the game, but in this you actually have a picture from the PC version in the background, which is nice. And it's funny, they actually still have him holding his dead rabbit's head. So there you have it, guys. Doom for the Game Boy Advance. We ran through that in just a little over 2 hours. Pretty good time, actually. It would have taken us longer if we tried going through the levels in a little more depth, and if we tried going to the secret level. I'm not sure if there's more than one secret level, or if it's just that one secret level that that I passed up on. But yeah, it's a pretty solid version of the game overall. It does get kind of sluggish and is a little jarring when you're playing it on a big screen like this. But if you're playing it on an actual Game Boy Advance, it's quite tolerable, and it's very, very good actually for handheld standards for that time period. Very few first-person shooters on the Game Boy Advance were able to come anywhere near as close to the fluidity of Doom for the Game Boy Advance. You had some like Wolfenstein-ish clones and whatnot, but Doom is the best looking one and the best playing first-person shooter, I think, on the Game Boy Advance. And it's still a respectable version of classic Doom. It's a fun game to play. And as someone like myself who likes going to the various different versions of Doom, it's always a fun time playing the Game Boy Advance version of the game, despite some of its cutbacks and some of its censorship and whatnot. So anyway, guys, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to post them down in the comment section below. If you're brand new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I've got a lot of Let's Plays on this channel and plenty more to come. For anybody that's curious in more Doom videos, I have an official Doom playlist on this channel. It should be up in the cards section in the top right hand portion of the screen, and you can check that out if you want to see some more Doom videos. I've done Let's Plays of most of the versions of Doom out there. I still have a few more I have to do, but check those out if you're interested in seeing more Doom Let's Play action. So alright guys, for everybody else, thanks for your continued support. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos, and I hope you specifically enjoyed this one. Not really sure what else to say, so I'll catch you guys soon. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take it easy.